Hi folks, I'm the founder of Zameen, and today I'm going to make a kheer. And kheer is a rice pudding that's really popular in many places in India and throughout the South Asian subcontinent. Didn't always like how it was, didn't have spices and things like that. And so growing up, my parents would force us to eat kheer sometimes, and I'd be like, I wanted a chocolate or a brownie or something. And as I grew older, I really fell in love with kheer, especially when I was in the village, because it was one of the few sweets that we had available and that were easy to make. Um, so this is my take on kheer. I call it the cinnamon toast kheer, and because I like adding zameen cinnamon to my kheer. So I'm gonna go over the ingredients first and then give a demonstration on how to grind the spice. So I have a cup of basmati rice here, and I'm gonna soak it in water. I have about a fourth of a cup of sugar here, plus, yeah, I have a fourth of a cup of sugar. So I have a fourth of a cup of sugar here, and I added a couple tablespoons extra to get it the right quantity, like amount that I want for my kheer. You can go all the way up to half a cup of sugar. Just do it based on your taste and your flavor profile. I haven't used any other sort of non-sugar types of sweeteners, so you might want to try some. And if you do try one, please comment below and let the community know, because I'm sure everyone would be excited to know about it. And I have 3 cups of whole milk here. You could probably go with a lighter milk if that's what you want, but I'm using whole milk because the flavors are just gonna be better that way. I'm gonna put that right here. Okay, and so the first thing I want to show you is that we are going to crush our cinnamon. So if you have a mortar and pestle, that's great, and you might be able to use that. I really like this spice grinder that I have made by Krups. It's a pretty good investment. It's about 20 bucks, I think, online somewhere, and so you could purchase this, and this will last you for a very, very long time. I remember when I used to live in the co-op, they had one of these for their coffee, and it lasted them 20 years. And so I just bought an extra one for my spices, and it does the job. So, all right, but if you don't have that, then, so we just want to take small bits, I would say like this much cinnamon, and kind of just pound at it first, in your mortar and pestle, or if you could directly throw it in there if that doesn't work for you. And it'll become little bits like that. Might go to a harder surface. And it's gonna be kind of hard to grind it really into in the mortar and pestle without. It's gonna be very chunky, I think. So especially with the one that I have. So I'm gonna throw it into this. And just throw those bits into here. So those are those bits again. Just gonna pop them in there. I plugged it in, and I'm going to grind. And you're gonna get that sort of dust of cinnamon, which is great. And you'll want to grind a little bit more, because at the end of the dish, when it's done, you like to just put a little bit on the top and just sprinkle it. It's nice to have. Do is I'm gonna soak my rice, and so in order to soak my rice, I'm gonna cover it, fully immerse it in water, which is the sink's on the other side, so you're not gonna see me, but I'll be right back. The rice should be fully immersed like that. You know, it has to be immersed in the water, and you want to just set it aside while we heat the milk. And just put some of the other spices that you can throw into here, into this recipe, is a pinch of nutmeg, a pinch of ground nutmeg, a pinch of ground cloves, and a pinch of ground ginger. If you don't have any of those, don't worry about it, just keep them out. But if you have them, they might add a little bit more of a blend. It's similar to like a chai, great fall flavors. So yeah, I think I always get this question asked, like, oh, well, if I don't have a spice, can I make the dish? And what I learned from living in a village in India is that often they didn't have some spice, and they, you know, to them, actually, they would make this dish with sugar, milk, and maybe a dash of nutmeg if they had it, but even if they didn't have that, they wouldn't make it with that. And so, because they didn't have access to cardamom, they didn't have access to saffron, you know, and if they did have access, they were too expensive for them to use. So, yeah, it's sometimes I think people get into this mentality that Indian food is super complex, and I want to break that down. I feel like it isn't, at least from my experience. So. Okay, so we're gonna wait for that milk to boil, and I'm gonna switch the camera around so you guys can see what it looks like. So this is the milk, it's boiling, and we're just waiting for it to boil. I mean, it hasn't started boiling, but it's just heating up right now. Yeah. So the bubbles are forming, the milk is looking great. I am gonna continue to stir the milk as we cook this dish, because I don't want any of it to get stuck at the ground. So I'm just going to continue to stir this milk to make sure that it doesn't sit at the bottom. And once it starts boiling, we can take it off the stove or reduce the heat and add the rice. I kind of like taking it off the stove because it makes it easier to make sure that it doesn't rise and fall over. Just give it gentle stirs throughout, you know, not have to continue doing that. Okay, so it seems like the milk is boiling, and so I'm gonna just take it off the stove and reduce the heat to low. So it doesn't fall over. And then I've already taken out the water from our rice, and I'm gonna pour in the remaining rice into this. And I'm just going to keep stirring so that this is where you have to stir a lot more because the rice will stick. So you need to keep stirring to make sure that you can keep checking on it to make sure that the rice is cooked. I don't think the rice is cooked yet. It doesn't look like it's cooked. So I'm just gonna keep at it. And this is gonna take about, it's gonna take about 15-20 minutes before you're going to have cooked rice. So you just want to keep at it. You can probably increase the heat a little bit, but just be careful. If you step away, you want to definitely reduce the heat. So as you can see, the rice is kind of thickening up. It's been probably about like 7 to 8 minutes. And it seems like it's cooking in the milk. Okay, now I'm gonna add the sugar. It looks like the rice is really there, the al dente style. If you like it a lot more mushier, you can definitely, cook it longer. If you like softer rice. I'm gonna add the sugar. Just gonna keep stirring and making sure that the sugar is getting evenly distributed throughout the pudding. It's definitely cooking really fast, and so just keep an eye on it. Don't walk away too far. I'm going to add the teaspoon, or a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon that is required on this, and I'm gonna add just slightly a little bit more because I like it. It's just up to your preference. You can also add some on the top when you serve. And let's just get that evenly distributed. A fork might be great to use for this. And you can continue to cook slowly. I mean, as long as you feel necessary. I mean, I think at this point it looks okay to me, because if you serve it chill, it's gonna thicken up, and if you serve it hot like this, you're gonna have to wait for a couple minutes because it's boiling. But once it's maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, I would wait and then serve it. And if you're doing that, then it's probably the perfect amount, because if you keep cooking it, it's just gonna, the milk will go away, and it'll get more condensed. So yeah. So I've let it sit for a bit, and as you can see, it's thickening up. So So I'm gonna go and take a bite out of this amazing. Just tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch in Kheer. Please, if you like this recipe, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Zameen Co. And follow us on Instagram at Zameen Co. and Facebook. And if you have any issues using this recipe, then please comment below so we can help you out. But thank you so much.